Hey, how you guys doing? So, it's been a little bit since the reveal for Love Live Bluebird, and there's been a good amount of people coming out with their ideas, their theories, and suggestions, and I want to throw my hand in the ring and see what I think this could be about, and also want to cover what do I want from it, as well as when do I think things are coming. So first and foremost, let's talk about what we know officially already, and then we'll move on to the speculation part and have a discussion, which that's kind of the point is, I want to have a discussion with you guys and see what you guys think as well. This is me putting what I think, but I want to hear from you guys as well. So as for what we know right now, we have this image here that was shown. We got the logo, which shows Love Live Bluebird, and then they have a teaser where it's the same image, just panning and with slow, melodramatic music. So that's really all we know. So then, let's move to the speculation part then, right? So this is going to be a combination of what I think as well as based on other people. I've seen a lot of other people throw out their theories. Some I think it's a little much, some I think there's some merit to it. But in the end, it's all speculation. I don't have any connection to staff, most of these people don't, so it's just guesses based on very little information. But that's kind of part of the fun of it, and that's all that really is going to be. So the question is, first I want to answer is, what do I think it will be about? So of course the image, the themes, the song that they use, all of it gives kind of a dramatic, intense feel. That pretty much feels like that's certainty. Why would you pick that music otherwise? And that's definitely a tone shift we see from the previous main franchises. So I feel like that's almost a lock, especially when you consider the phrase that they use with just a Hard Life Club. So the question is, well, what is it going to be about? Is it going to be like theater? When we look at this image, you see the spotlight that's on her. It's almost like what she's doing ballet, perhaps, or like at least the spotlight's on her. So is that theater? Is that ballet? I don't know. Love Live hasn't done that a whole lot, but there's that school out of musical thing they done recently, so maybe that's in the cards for them to do something more mainline for that. But it's really hard to speculate on that, so we'll have to see. More interesting part is focusing on that slogan that they use, the Hard Life Club translation, because that does answer a few things, but it also does leave some things that we want to figure out more about. So the first thing is the fact that it's called, the slogan has the word club in it. If you think the fact that they would have only just this girl, that's not going to happen. Come on, this is Love Live. They wouldn't just do one girl. That would be interesting, that would be unique, and I would be very intrigued on how they would handle that. And I don't think that would necessarily be a bad idea. Love Live already has a lot of girls, but less girls means less merchandise, less opportunities to monetize, less opportunities to make more unique, varying songs, less less. I think they're probably just think less girls equals less money. So I would throw that theory out the window if you even thought that. But on top of the fact, it's a slogan has the word club in it, and you can't really have a club if it's just one person. So the fact that they're talking about a club makes me think there's at least a few members in it. And, I watched my fair share of anime, and there's definitely, when a club is struggling, it's because they don't have enough members. And often that number is like, 5? Maybe 3, but I think 5 is the number that I usually remember hearing. So the fact that it's a Hard Life Club, maybe the club itself is struggling, and that maybe they are floating around 5 members, maybe they have 4 members, or they're struggling to get to that number. Maybe that's part of the Hard Life Club, where the club itself struggling, or maybe this character herself is struggling. I don't know if that really expands to other characters, but then again, we just don't know what the other characters look like. At least what we can be pretty sure is that they showed the main character. If you look back at all of the reveals for Love Live, they have debuted with a single character, and that's often the leader. You go all the way back to Muse, we got to see just Honoko, and Chica, we just got to see for Aqua, just the slogan, and what looked like made pretty obvious it was going to be around Numazu area or the shore. For Love Live Superstar, we got to see a bunch of characters, so we had to look for it, but kind of was front and center. If you're wondering for side projects, for Nijigaku, it was quite different. We got to see silhouettes, So this is not really going to help us here. And if we want to have a Hasana Soda, well, they showed no characters, but they showed the concept that it was going to be very phone based. But that kind of shows you the idea of how this is going, and it seems to be following the pattern of main projects, and it makes sense. 2010, 2015, 2020, 2025, every 5 years, this is probably a main project, and it's following that suit. But just because they reveal one girl does not mean it's going to be a solo girl. It's very likely to have a group. But how many people would it be then? Well, we have seen some theories. The most popular theory that I've seen so far, it was one by Adol Astra, and they have a theory where the number of characters in the anime is going to be based on the number of characters that you see in the name of the project. For example, for Muse, it's Love Live Scholar Project. Love Live has 9 characters if you include the exclamation mark. 9 characters equals 9 characters, I guess. If you want to go for Love Live Sunshine, well, if you count up Sunshine, you have, well, technically 10, but if you morph the exclamation marks, you guess you can get to the number 9. If you want to do this with Love Live Superstar, you get 11. If you don't group the exclamation marks, if you want to do Nichigaku, it's a little goofy, but it's a side project, so I guess that doesn't really support the hypothesis. Nijigasaki is technically 10 characters, which is, I guess, the original 9 plus you, but then eventually became 12, and I don't know how you get to 12, so forget it. But let's talk about what we're more interested in, which is just the main projects, and since it's the main project, how about Bluebird? Well, if you do the math, Bluebird, it's 4 plus 4, that's 8, and that means it's 8 characters, right? I don't really buy it. I see there's kind of a trend, but the trend you kind of you ignored certain details and kind of force it just because there's a lot of things that are close. So it's kind of like you almost fudge the data, and at that point, does it even hold true value? Especially like the first one for Love Live. You'd think they were really concerned about the English spelling of Love Live when it was a Japanese project that they didn't even know it was probably going to get out of Japan. So why would we focus on the number of characters in Love Live in Japan? I don't know. So I don't really put a whole lot of weight behind this guess. But, I mean, I don't really have a good guess either. So, I mean, by all means, you feel free to go with this if you think that's going to work. It looks like they're trying to make things different with the project, so having different amount of characters could be a thing. They tried to do that with Liela and then didn't, and then they tried to do it with Hasana Soda and then later didn't. But they really seem to like the number 9. So, honestly, if I had to make a guess, put money down, it's probably 9. But this project feels a little more different in some other ways, which makes me think, perhaps it won't actually be 9 members. And one of the things I want to mention is take a look at the names of all of these projects one more time, and you might notice a trend, except Bluebird's the one that doesn't follow it. So what is that? Take a look at all of them, including the other side project, Nijigaku, Link Like Love Live, School Out Musical. They have all one thing that is common amongst just the names. And if you can't see it, well, the answer is they all have School Idol in it. Love Live School Idol Project, Love Live Sunshine, they have School Idol Project there. You can see Superstar School Idol Project, Nijigasaki, School Idol Project, Link Live Love Live, School Idol Project, School Idol Musical, it's not School Idol Project, but it has School Idol in it. This one is just Love Live Bluebird. Whether that's a mission or not, it probably isn't, considering this is probably the final logo. I don't think they would change that on us per se. But this is the one singular project, I guess, beyond Genjutsu no Yohane, that doesn't have the word School Idol in it at all. And that's, of course, including the side projects of Nijigaku, Hasana Soda, and School Idol Musical. So it makes you think, so they're not doing School Idols this time? So that, of course, brings us back to this image. What is it going to be about if it's not going to be about School Idols? Clearly, there's going to be something involved with a club. They have the phrase for a reason. Hard Life Club. But is that club even School Idols at all? Of course, we imagine there might be singing involved, right? That's what Love Live's good at. Making music, making good-looking lives. It would be weird to not do that. But are we even going to have School Idols at all? So, if it's not School Idols, are they even going to go to 9 members? Who knows? They probably still want more members, because that's more monetizable, more characters, more people to like certain different characters, different personalities, all that. But that's one of the things that I found really interesting. But now let's focus on the title, Bluebird. What the heck does that even mean? And why would they pick that word Bluebird? So first thing you learn about Bluebird is it's actually a North American bird. I don't know how much that's going to play into this, but what this takes place in America, or maybe that girl's an American, or there's an American girl that plays a big element to it. I don't know if that's really true or not, but you can see some images of the bluebirds. They're very blue and vibrant, and they tend to happen in the western part of North America, so maybe what if they're in Cali or Seattle or something. I don't know. That could be a potentially interesting element of that. But it says you can also see them in the eastern part of America, but in general, it's just an American bird. I might have seen it myself, but that's the idea. So maybe they're in America. Probably not. I feel like they wouldn't do that, but I don't know. That's a really far out there idea. And you can learn more about their behaviors and stuff. But the one thing I also want to look at is what does it mean when you have a bluebird? So here we have the Bluebird syndrome. That's one of the things that seem to be popping up, and maybe that's the reason why they would name it, and it feels somewhat relevant. So the Bluebird syndrome is a social phenomenon in which people cannot adjust to changes in society or the workplace. So in order to understand a little more, I would go and understand what does it mean, what is the spiritual meaning of a bluebird. So when you see bluebirds, it's often regarded as a message of happiness and optimism. So joy, happiness, you see a blue vibrant bird, you're like, oh, that's really nice, and maybe that feels uplifting and in general makes you feel good, which seems to be a very big contrast to what we've seen from the theme so far of the image and its choice of music. So if you go to Bluebird syndrome, that's what it feels like. It's going to be more appropriate, as this is where while you see the bluebird, it symbolizes happiness. In fact, Bluebird syndrome is not that, where you rather can have depression and potentially anxiety from trying to achieve happiness, but you're unable to get it. And I feel like the fact that that just conveniently lines up why they picked the name Bluebird could potentially play a big element of that. So that's at least what I think, and I feel that kind of lines up. So maybe that's why they picked that. Otherwise, if you listen to some other songs, well, the one thing that comes to me is Bluebird is one of the opening or anything for Naruto, and you can go read the lyrics for it, but it's a very sad song where you keep trying and you're sad and you're trying to break free your bird in the cage. So I know this is not that relevant, but I think that's the kind of idea that they're going for, and that's why they picked Bluebird. So that potentially explains why they picked Bluebird. And you think of a blue, cold color, maybe that has to play in an element as well. So let's focus on her outfit. As you can see here, she's wearing a coat where it looks like it's definitely potentially colder. I don't see snow on the ground per se, but why is she wearing specifically that outfit? If you again look at the previous reveals, you would often see the girls wearing their school uniform, and probably the one you would think that most of the time would be wearing. And if you look, they're often wearing shorter sleeves, maybe because they're in a warmer area. But when we take a look at all of these and compare it to what we see here, she's wearing a coat. Maybe it could just be maybe they just pick one time that it's really cold and they want to do that for emphasis of the message you're trying to send. But that's kind of a little odd to pick that as your first photo, because you want to probably be the one that you're focused, that one represents the girl the best. So it makes you think maybe this is going to be somewhere warm or colder, and if probably it's going to be Japan, let's be honest. So where would that be? So before we decide where it could potentially be, I do want to show you where have they been so far. Not necessarily that will influence, but I think it's good to know, and maybe it will, because they want to do somewhere different. So of course, to start with Locale Project, Muse, Arise, they're both in Tokyo. That's pretty much it. A lot of this stuff is around Akihabara and such, but that's Tokyo. Then we go to Aqua, they're from Numazu, the Shizuoka Prefecture. They really go all over the place in Numazu, and that's what they're very well known for. Nijigaku, they're in Odaiba, that's a little bit more right of Tokyo, but it's still pretty much just Tokyo. And then we go to Liela, they're more around Shibuya, Shinjuku area, that's more left of Tokyo, but it's still the greater Tokyo area, so they're all in that cluster. The next place we'll go to is Sunny Passion. They're kind of that really small island in the bottom right that was cut off, but that's where they are from. And then after that we got Hasanasora. Hasanasora takes place in the Kanazawa area, so this is definitely one of the times where they've gone much further away, and it's kind of in a more mountainous area. You can see that in the stories, it's kind of in the mountains. So it's in there in the Ishikawa Prefecture. And then I guess if we might as well cover Squall Musical, because then they also gone a little bit further away for that. So this one's kind of interesting. It's actually in 2 cities, but you'll find the Squall Musical taking place in Osaka and Kobe. They got 2 schools, so the 2 schools are there, but they're not super far away, kind of. But now that leads to the question of where would Bluebird be then? But wait a minute. Now you're thinking about it, I covered basically every group, but there's one group I didn't cover. Where's Saint Snow? For that, we're gonna have to zoom out even more. Saint Snow is in a much colder area, hence why they're probably called Saint Snow, but they're in Hokkaido, so that big island up north. Now, when we think about Saint Snow, we think about how cold it is, and especially when you think all the stuff about Hokkaido, it's cold, it's much up more north, so they'll experience a lot more snow than areas beneath. So the fact that when you look at their traditional uniform that they're at least showing in the beginning, you can think, so is that Hokkaido? So that's at least a prevailing thought. Maybe it doesn't have to be as north as that, but you think it's pretty safe they're not going to be somewhere super south where it's like Fukuoka, where it's a lot more warm for a lot of the time. But the fact that this is the first image they show makes you think perhaps maybe they are experiencing more colder weathers for longer durations, so potentially Hokkaido. So the last thing I want to talk about is the art style. What are the characters going to look like? Granted, oftentimes the first reveal will not necessarily mirror the final art style. When you look at Muse, you get to see the old art style, but that's because it's a lot older. They were figuring things out. It was true for Aqua, they had a little older art style. Nijigaku, I don't know, they keep changing art style, so that's not really relevant. But this doesn't necessarily indicate what the art style is going to be. Some people think this is AI. I don't think so. Like, it doesn't look like AI to me, because people just call whatever they don't like AI. It's just there's some weird goofy elements where you look at her hands, it feels like something's a little off, but that doesn't look like AI. So we'll have to see what the art style they do. I just hope it's not like they're gonna constantly keep changing like Nijigaku, and I'm not crazy about the art style they use for the characters for the movie, but otherwise you know they usually produce good looking characters and backgrounds and MVs and such. So I'm not really worried about it, but I definitely am curious by what are those weird elements that are showing up in this art. So that's more or less it. Of course, we can talk about more what we want from it. Like general gist, like I don't want school shutting down again. Hard life to actually mean something. I want an anime. Like I think we can assume it's gonna get one. It would be cool if they went and did something like Girls Band Cry did for the animation, but I don't think that would probably happen. I want this group to be involved in some games. Every main group got a game, so hopefully this one could get it. And as for when I think things will start really rolling out, well, it takes a few months to get things rolling, but we still probably need to learn more about some of the characters. But mid to late this year, you might see the first few songs, and maybe next year we can start thinking about talking about an anime or something like that. But that's at least what I think so far. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. What do you think about my speculation? What do you agree? What do you disagree with? Not all these are explicitly my theories. I'm got to look at a bunch of other people's theories and see what I agree with or what I don't with and put it together. But anyways, let me know all about this in the comments below and what you look forward to Love Live Bluebird. I probably won't talk about this for a little while, let it rest, and do some other things. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and hope to catch you guys in another video soon.